Hello there, Chocolate Muffin. Welcoming you back to crypto's juiciest news. The Bitcoin price back at 105,000 American dollars. We've got quite some news coming out. We were starting to get a bit skits. No one's really interested because altcoins are still down. And we have some wild rogue announcements. For example, Donald Trump has officially announced a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, which I was talking to you about before. I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time. It's probably going to help the markets. It's probably going to sort itself out with more stabilized oil prices and other things as well to come. Now, quickly, just looking at Bitcoin's price, we've slightly recovered back here, friends, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to continue this like rush up right now. So we just have to prepare ourselves just in case, that channel of schizoness happens before we're finally ready to move up, just in case that occurs, all right? There's no guarantees with this, and you're very, very familiar now with the news and how the news doesn't really mean anything. It's just a catalyst, right? So if the market is done with rallying, this news can't really push it to new highs to sustain it because you don't really know, right? Depends all on the price action and how everything goes on. Let's play some Pumpy G music because we deserve it. This is Ethereum's price chart right here. Ethereum, friends, still at 2,500, hanging around. It did a big monthly reversal, but yeah, Ethereum is still cucked. As we know, the ETH BTC ratio is still 0.023. It's got a long way to go, like so monstrously long, and it's a monthly chart as well. So we also have others BTC still red, right? We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on the 6th red candle in a row for others BTC. What's it going to take? We'll see. The business cycle's got to come and basically turn it around. We know all that jazz. Let's look at Carlin Talks Cryptos. Little global liquidity chart here. This is put on the daily. We could go sideways and stuff here, friends. But yeah, we're still pretty much like everything is right on track. I know everyone's like losing their minds, but hey, we've come this far. So, why quit now? So now I'm quickly going to show you some chain link action here. We have the link ETH ratio. This is just a real representation of pretty much everything in DeFi and crypto out here. Everything versus Ethereum is like super low. We all know PulseChain versus ETH is low. So is Chainlink versus ETH is down 87% since August 2020. So it's kind of funny, friends. It's not SEC. It's not Interpol with PulseChain being weak against Ethereum. It's the business cycle. I mean, you even have Chainlink right here, man. Chainlink, friends, have literally no legal problems whatsoever. Listed on every exchange, mentioned everywhere. Altcoin Daily mentions them in the top 10 and everything. Like, it's just, they're like, oh, we've got everything going great for us every single time. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't mean anything. If the market doesn't want to go up, it just doesn't want to, right? We need the business cycle higher. Remember, as we know, Bitcoin follows global liquidity more, M2, when they print money, right? It's meant to be a M2 money debasing hedge over time. That's what Bitcoin's meant to be. It's what it is, actually, statistically, if you hold long enough. And then, so Bitcoin with the M2, global liquidity, and then altcoins are more to do with the business cycle. Okay, so obviously, they're going to print money no matter how bad things get. That's why I guess Bitcoin's always going to have some sort of friendship there. But the business cycle, they can print money to keep things okay, but the business cycle can basically just get walloped, which is what we've seen, and then, yes, altcoins get crushed. So luckily, we have this knowledge now, but really, everyone's always known this, right? So that's why all Bitcoin maxis, when they say, hey man, altcoins all go to zero, what they're actually also saying is, without knowing, that they're saying, look, man, you guys only buy altcoins because the business cycle's high. Okay, when the business cycle goes low, you guys don't buy those altcoins. You buy new altcoins. So the ones from last season, they're like old now and they go away because they don't have like any use case. It's just network effects forming with new logos and stuff. And that's pretty much what we've seen. Are things going to change? Hopefully, yes. But it's going to be tough to pick which ones are going to change, right? Because like as we've seen, I mean, all the altcoins, they just dropped 90 to 95% anyway. So maybe this is the one to buck the trend, okay? But don't bank on it completely. Like if we go into an enormous state of euphoria, don't think that you've got like that one winning coin, like the BNB of this cycle or whatever, because chances are you don't. As we've seen, even by the Bitcoin halving year, there's a 1% chance you hold the coin that recovers. So that's what we've seen from the stats. So out of 500 coins, about 5 came back. Remember, I still remembered all of them, right? It was like Flowkey, Fetch. You had BNB was doing strong as well, Solana, and there was one more. So it doesn't, there's so little injective. That's right, INJ. So 5 out of 500. You know what I mean? And by the way, like it just to show you how like crazy you can get. Friends, if you go look at Injective itself, yeah, it looks mad on a log chart, but friends, it dropped 87% again. So everybody holding Injective was like, yes, we are one of the early winner coins. Look what it did, dude. It went and dropped literally 88% from the top. How about that? I was trying to warn everyone in the threads when Injective was up here, people were like buying a lot. I think there's a guy named Wiz or something. Yeah, so on Twitter, and he's got like 500k followers. Everyone's buying a crap load up here. And I was like, dude, man, you're early to Injective at $3. You're not early at like $40. And because they're all saying it's going to 500, you know, and then look what happens next. It comes back all the way back down to $7. So yeah, that's just very unfortunate. I hope they all continue and they recover, but just to show you, man, look, it's so tough, right? It's not, look at that, like one of the 5 of the coins and that 1%. So one of the 5, like it comes back and just like zips back 88% anyway. I told you it was random. I was telling you it was random. Some people like say, oh, it's a future finance. I was like, dude, you don't understand what the hell this coin does. It's more random than you think. You're confusing your brain for your little cherry picking luck streak here. But that's all right, man. That's just, you know, that's how people get trapped in markets. And we need them to think like that. If people really could think like a professional, like how we are, professional peanut brain, they would never come and buy something up like 48x, right? But we know people are slaves to their emotions. I'm going to crack on with some news, friends. So Trump has announced that he has officially confirmed a PC McPeace deal. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the post right here. Trump announced this peace deal, Russia versus Ukraine. So he says, I just completed my call. He goes, it went well. And he goes, Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations towards a ceasefire and an end to the war. The conditions for that will be negotiated between 2 parties, as it can only be. The tone and spirit was excellent. And he says, Russia wants to do large-scale trade with the USA when this catastrophic bloodbath is over. And I agree. That's pretty good. So Trump's got some Trump cards. He's like, hey, you know, you do a peace deal here, you have to trade with us. We'll make you guys very wealthy. And yeah, he does continue saying negotiations are going to begin immediately. So, you know, obviously, friends, during these times, at any point, they can go, you know what? We're going to go play with our own Game Boys. We don't need yours. We're out of here. They can say that and it's all over. But I've got a good feeling about this one. It's just the universe is kind of like ready, like because they've been fighting for like so long, and like Trump already he basically said, "Hey man, you can trade with us. You know, we're not going to do like the previous government administration stuff. If you're a nice boy, pooty poots." Cracking on as well. Over 1 million Ethereum was withdrawn from exchanges in the past month. Total 5.5% of the supply. Look at this chart. Now, friends, when you see this, see how the supply is going down. What I know people always say these things. They say, how the hell, what a scam this stupid bullshit data is, because they say, how are we withdrawing all this supply and the price is like the worst ever? Because remember, friends, markets are really thin. Yeah. The amount of bids and offer liquidity. Let's talk about the bid. Forget about the offer. The offer is just a scam. Oh, everyone just prints themselves tokens, lives on the offer. No one gives a shit about that. Okay. Look at the bid. How much bid can sustain all the JEETs selling, right? And there are a lot of scum JEETs in Ethereum, right? The early ICO people all dumping a crap load there. So why is that? Well, look, like I said, it's so thin, man. Out of like, say a market cap, right? There's 100 million coins, you know, from 0%, 100%, yeah? The liquidity is only 1%. It's just 1%. So you can withdraw, friends. You can literally withdraw 70% of a token. 70%. Take all of it out. 70%. That still leaves 30. All you need is 1% to JEET down and it can crush a coin 80 to 90%. 1%. If no bids come in. That's the only thing that's available. And it's the same thing with Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, special. Why? Statistically, Bitcoin, whenever they print global M2 money liquidity, yeah, currency units flow from the money printer into the stocks, into NASDAQ, and it does end up in Bitcoin's bid. It does end up in it. Okay, that's why Bitcoin goes up over time. That's why when I show you this global liquidity chart right here, and I've shown you this thing over time, right? There's very, very long ones over time. That's the thing with Bitcoin, friends. It does, over time, it does move up with this global liquidity. Yeah. So that's the special part about it. Okay. Statistically, it's doing something different to the rest of altcoins statistically. Okay. So, you know, remove the story, remove the narrative. Oh, it's perfect money and stuff like that. These are just like narratives are just, you know, just because people like bullish on it. Are they long, you know, and they got like Max Kaiser's probably got like 150,000 BTC or something. Who knows, right? They say stuff like that. Yeah. The only honest guy actually, now think about it, who's honest about Bitcoin is like Richard Hart, and he's got a lot. He's got more Bitcoin than Michael Saylor. So it's like, but do you understand how rare it is? Richard Hart has more Bitcoin than Michael Saylor, and he's the only guy who tells the truth about it. Yeah, he's the only guy who tells the truth about it. See, when you look at this in a Vitalik or anybody else, yeah, but they don't have an enormous amount of stash of Bitcoin. Richie does. And what he's saying, it's not FUD. It's true, man. Bitcoin has no privacy. There is no privacy tech. It's got no stable coins. You can't do anything on it. It has no technology. It literally does nothing. The only thing it does, it actually is very powerful. When I say only thing, it is very powerful. Statistically, in the universe, it correlates with global liquidity. Yeah. So without you forcing it, you don't force anything. When they print money in the world, currency units flow into BTC. That is very unique and very special. Okay. Can that change over time? Probably sure. Yeah. How can that change over time? Well, you know, I made this video, friends. You got to watch this video clip. I heard a rumor that everybody in PulseChain basically needs to watch this. Okay. This is very, very important. So I heard a rumor that the PulseChain community should watch this video, and it's from Richard Hart. Maybe I'll try to get to the point A at the end, friends. Look at this.
Like, I could spend time reducing the size of my team.
Yeah.
Or I can just accept you into it. And if you win, great. And if you lose, fine. And if you screw over the other team members, then we'll deal with it then. But my suspicion is that nobody on my team is going to probably be buying your token. So why do I care? Like, maybe they will, and that's fine. But like, I don't see it as being a productive use of my time.
Yeah. I was going to spend some time crap talking someone.
This is now Richard Hart talking, yeah.
That I feel is on my team as well today about ICO regulation stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that because you go forth. I don't feel like crap talking ICOs against you today. Like,
so in this video, okay, you're learning a bit about Richard. He thinks about what's optimal for himself to do all the time. Okay. And trust me, it leads into this. It does lead into this, friends. So he basically, in this clip, he shows like, you know what? There's a first best thing I can do and there's a second best thing I can do. He goes, if I never did the token thing referring to Hex before it was launched, he goes, the second best thing I can do is just keep teaching people about what my decisions are, right, to make the world a better place. So where does this all come from and what does it all lead to? Well, if you had a lot of Bitcoin, think about this. You are Richard Hart, okay? You are Richard Hart, you quack like a duck. You've got a lot of Bitcoin. You don't think Bitcoin's doing enough to help humanity now. Yeah. No privacy, no tech. There's literally, friends, if you want to go buy Bitcoin, you have to go to an exchange and give them your passport and ID. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, we made this thing to be to work outside of fiat system, and like now the only way to get it is to come through the fiat system and be attached to the fiat system. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, it's literally, it's like to be a police officer, to go through your training, you have to go through a drug kingpin practicing arena where they basically trial you out as a scout. And you're like, wait. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to go to the police here. I've got to go through the druggies, the drug dealers, the underground stuff to like qualify and do my test through them. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's just, that's where the world's heading. It's not even like it's a nice metaphor, but it's true. Okay. And there's no solutions for it. So he's got a lot of Bitcoin. He's got a lot of Ethereum, especially the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a thing where they print global M2 liquidity money And BTC is correlating stronger to the upside and the downside to NASDAQ and S&P 500, okay? It's being the M2 monetary hedge. Now, so is gold, but gold only grows like 5 or 6% per year, up to 8% per year over a long period of time, all right? And Bitcoin right now was doing 67% per year from 2020 to 2024, okay? So it's been diminishing over time. So it makes you think about this chess piece move. What would you do with a lot of Bitcoin? What would you do? I don't know. There's a chess piece move, okay? Someone could think about a world where he sells some of it and he rotates into PulseChain. But there has to be something else that I'm thinking about, because I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like just hand money over to like retardios who are going to go buy dumb stuff and lose it all over again? Look, if I could think about something strange which makes sense, it would involve pDAI. It would involve a native decentralized stablecoin. There's no blacklist function, okay? I don't know what it entails exactly, but maybe like moving the Bitcoin is done in a way so that Hart's law bonds the whole chain. So now, Bitcoin, isn't it nice that you are a global M2 liquidity hedge? Well, guess what? You're now bonded to us, and so are we. Now, I don't know what it actually means. Does he just get 10,000 BTC and like latch it on everyone? I don't know exactly how it would work. I'm sure he knows how it would work, obviously. But that's why it could involve pDAI, because if this backs the collateral for something that's a native decentralized stablecoin, okay, whether it's pDAI or pDAI's handed in to do something else. So whether it's something like that, it just makes you wonder, because he could always just mint more of the coin. So like let's say your collateral is backed. Let's say Bitcoin backs your collateral for pDAI, or whatever the native decentralized stablecoin is. As Bitcoin's correlation goes up, guess what? You can borrow more money on it infinitely. You can mint more $1 units to do whatever you want with them. Very interesting, yeah? So that's just something I'm thinking about. Look, and by the way, friends, remember, Richard's very forward-thinking, so I'm throwing this out here as well. If you're going to earn yield and do stuff out here, you never know. He might like do a twist on it where he makes pDAI like Sharia law compliant, where there's no yield in it, where it's almost like Hex, where there's not yield. You throw your money into a pit somewhere, and it spits out something else. You know, I'm just throwing out ideas. That's all. But even if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're just saying like, this is forward thinking, man. This is like real forward thinking. That's why Pulse being at only 40% SAC price is pretty much racism right here. But hopefully we get to move up higher. Now, I want to show you this. Metaplanet just bought 1,000 BTC for $100 million, bringing total holdings to 7,800 BTC. So Metaplanet is a Japanese company. They were in the top 10 of Japanese traded stocks for the day as well. So we're going to see more companies over time add Bitcoin to the balance sheet and do these things, right? They consider it, I guess, like a long-term treasury savings vehicle. But then eventually the wrong companies will do it, and they'll take on the wrong leverage. We don't know who it's going to be. I don't think the wrong ones are in yet. When they appear, we'll know. Okay? I don't think they're in yet. When they start to appear, we'll know like, there's some deep problems here. But then we got to wait for the parabolic euphoria. Cripple have announced Zand Bank and Mamo as its first blockchain-powered clients in the UAE. So, and Ripple's friends, Ripple, obviously, they own all the XRP tokens. They start off with 90%. They've been dumping on XRP community for like 13 years. They still have about 55% of the tokens. Ripple's XRP, their intention is for it to be CBDC to control the population. Now, the first time I said this, this is funny, man. We all understand that's friends, it's not a joke, okay? Someone thought we were like joking. Like, no. I remember someone made a comment like, hey, that's a nice joke. They're trying to be CBDC. Good one. No, but so it's not a joke. Their actual website and their like ethos, they literally just say, yeah, we want to be CBDC. We want governments to choose us as CBDC. We will help government on-rail CBDC. So it had, because they're not really part of the crypto community. They're like outside, a bit outskirts a bit, because they onboard a lot of people who are non-crypto people. That's why a lot of like, for example, a lot of like, like suit wearing, Rolex flashing, Bugatti screensaver type of dudes, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's always like, you know, Pommy accent dude in Dubai. Like, they're all in XRP. They love XRP. Everyone just loves XRP. All of them. It's like, it's a retailer coin, right? XRP is for, I want to be a trader and I want to be rich type of coin. But I don't want to really get into crypto because like I'm more of a Forex guy or I'm a stocks guy, right? Or I hustle in like real estate or something like that. That's usually what XRP type of crowd brings in. So in their eyes, like they don't give a shit. Like, oh yeah, CBDC, I've heard about it. They're not crypto people. You know, they don't know what the word like decentralization really means. You know what I mean? Like they don't know that you can own all of a coin and a coin can still be decentralized. You know what I mean? They think that, yeah, because they don't spend time thinking about it. Like they don't give a crap. They just go out, just want to live their lives. You know what I mean? Like they're not probably like a lot of them, they probably just have like multinational, multicolored friends. You know what I mean? Like they're like, I don't understand why everyone's fighting out in the world anyway. You know what I mean? Like what's this racism stuff? Move on. They just want to live their own lives. They don't care. It's just interesting how it's starting to be pretty much morph in. So that's Ripple's intention is for it to be CBDC, but there's still no like demand for the XRP token. But like we've learned, you don't need demand for the token, dude. You don't. Like Bitcoin, friends, Bitcoin only goes up because mentally people think it's going to keep going up because they're going to keep printing money. Yeah, but if they kept printing money, why can't people just buy Ethereum? Well, they can, but they don't. Okay, they buy BTC first. Maybe one day Bitcoin and Ethereum share some of that network effect of global M2. We'll see. Now, I've got some more Ripple news. Ripple CEO Brad Garlicbreath has confirmed rumors that he was kicked out of Donald Trump's administration and Washington. So Brad Garlicbreath, he has publicly begged Twitter to the US government to make him the crypto leader for all of crypto. I know this sounds like I'm exaggerating. I'm not. No, he's Brad Garlicbreath. Look at this. He goes, I'm heading to DC to champion sensible crypto. I'm very encouraged. He goes, look at this. Senator Lummis, she's the chair of the digital assets subcommittee. She canceled a meeting with me and she won't reschedule. As a leader in Congress, I hope you consider me as a leader for all crypto. I invite you to join. So here's a Bitcoin maxi dude, Pierre Rochard. You love to see it. Ripple XRP has been consistently a bad actor. So there were rumors, by the way, yeah, I had 69 likes here. Nice. There were rumors, friends, that Brad Garlicbreath, so basically they didn't mention the names, but they said rumors. Remember when Donald Trump made a tweet? He goes, I like ADA, I like XRP, I like Sol. Yeah. So Trump's administration got pissed off that the altcoiners were trying to like shitcoin their way in. That's how like the Bitcoiners call it. So he got pissed off at that and they kicked all of them out. So Cuckinson's, I don't think is part of it. I don't know, but from what we see, I think XRP Cordanza, XRP Ripple is the main culprit. And Senator Cynthia Lummis, you know, you always see her around. She's obviously very advocating for Bitcoin. She wants a Bitcoin strategic reserve. So yeah, she's been ghosting him. So I guess it does confirm these weren't rumors. These leaks were real. So they actually got kicked out, and Trump wants nothing to do with them anymore because it made him look like a fool. Because I guess somebody sat down and explained to him. They go, hey man, like even the altcoiners say, let's just do Bitcoin because it's going to look really bad if we get the US government to start just buying altcoins of companies, because you're not even really, you know what I mean? Like you just have such a public image of you know, you're a suit wearer and like, you know, you have an ivory tower and you've been dumping the coins and and it'll also look really bad because XRP is security. They literally had to pay $50 million to the SEC. That was their settlement. They asked for $100 million. They paid $50 million. Yeah, so I guess they were guilty of all that stuff. They were dumping and doing all these things, but we're just going to move on. So that's probably I guess, you know, why Donald Trump just wants him out. Now, what does this mean for the XRP price? Well, as you know, friends, probably nothing. It probably doesn't do anything in terms of disrupting its flow because people don't care. Friends, my dentist had XRP. He sold it a bit lower after being holding for 4 or 5 years, but remember I got him in EHEX and stuff now. Yeah, he has no idea what the hell's going on. Like literally, you and I give you the highest value content in crypto. Nobody out there in the real normie world has one idea what's going on. And the people who do have an idea of what's going on, they get caught up in one issue. Like they have a weak point. Like maybe they're a Russia-Ukraine person. Like, oh, I've got the Ukraine flag. Oh, you know what I mean? Like that. So they're inquisitive, but then they're like, they get trapped in one thing. Whereas us, friends, we are like totally red pilled. We are like red pill, black pill, crypto pill, orange pill, rainbow color, altcoin pill, everything pill. You know what I mean? Like that's us. There's no one else is out here like that. And you don't blame them, man. They're like, there's living paycheck to paycheck. Numbers bore them. Like, they don't give a shit about numbers. You know, oh, well, okay, because you got 100 in this number and someone's got 700. They're meant to be 7 times more important. No, they're not. Screw you. I'm just going to go. I want to go watch the football. I want to go, you know, have like a hot dog on the weekend with my friends. Like, that's pretty much everyone's mindset when it comes to it. But the thing is, like, if we could fast forward time and they had a crystal ball and they would see that you and I made like, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25x return on the investment and you no longer have to work, then they take it seriously. That's why you need to have the vision. And that's why you do have the vision. You're watching me. Okay. We do have the vision. You know, like one day the numbers is much, much bigger, like dollar numbers, you know, and it's not fake. It's real. Yeah. There's liquidity. And man, this is more real than your freaking shitty stocks, dude. We can actually click sell and withdraw in 2 seconds. You can't do that, right? You can't do that. So that's funny. Vitalik proposes partially stateless nodes to scale Ethereum, enabling 10 to 100x gas limit increases while reducing full node storage needs. So friends, as we've got to see, you know, Richard says PulseChain is decentralized and Vitalik says Ethereum's decentralized. We're like, yeah, but like you're a genius. So we literally have to like sit around and wait for him. Because when we're trying, but friend, look, like when someone has 80 IQ, you know what I mean? Like if they go to like, you know, a high level mathematics class in university, you got 80 IQ. Like I know you're trying, it's not clicking. And if you do try, man, it takes you like 4 hours to read a page, right? That's all of us. And by the way, you can have a high IQ, it's just not your field. There you go. You know, so that's the hard part, right? People with low IQ, all right, they're like, it's too hard. And then people with like high IQ still get it wrong, right? They just like totally can get it wrong as well. That's what makes it tough. That's why you have to have some special magic sauce in you. And that's why we trust them to make these decisions. It'll be beautiful for Ethereum. They will raise this gas limit and stuff over time, right? Because Solana embarrassed them, yeah? You got to imagine, friends. So, like, I can't look. I know because, like, they drink a lot of soy. They don't really communicate. In terms of like normal ways. But I'm just telling you, Ethereum people have felt the deepest level of shame for a lifetime. Okay, this has scarred them. I promise you this has scarred them for life. All right? They're not going to play nice next time at all. I promise you. Okay? Ethereum people have been so disgraced. That's why they will turn this around. And they will, trust me, they will never make this mistake again. Because the shame they feel, friends, you got to understand. Ethereum is sandwiched. Bitcoiners always used to pick on Ethereum and say, hey, you guys are cucks. You're centralized. You had an ICO, so you dump and give yourself shit inside of coins. You make all these compromises for complicated like transactions, and you're garbage anyway, right? Now your ETH BTC ratio is going down. So you tried to cheat with all the deflationary mechanics. Guess what? You're garbage because you just cucked yourselves. And like, because Bitcoin maxi people, they won't give it a fair valuation. They'll say, oh, it's because of the, they'll say just because you're crap. And we know, oh, you know, third cycle curse, business cycle, Ethereum layer 2s, whatever. That's the Bitcoin side. But then Ethereum people used to say, oh, it's okay. We're going to be fine, right? Because, you know, no one else is going to compete with us on decentralization, which is true. The problem is, as I was telling everybody in 2022, some harsh truth. 99% of people don't give one flying truck about decentralization. Case in point, Solana goes on a turbo nuclear run on the Sol ETH ratio. So Ethereum gets cucked again. So they're like, oh, don't worry. We've sacrificed a bit of decentralization. Don't worry about the Bitcoin guys. We'll get them. Then someone else says, oh, Ethereum, we're going to sacrifice even more decentralization than you, and we're going to make our things faster. And then guess what they have? They have a pump fund narrative. They have all the meme coins. Donald Trump launches his coin. Everyone just chooses it pretty much in their rights. And they're like, hey, you got cucked beyond imagination. And now they're literally caught in the middle. They're like, oh, crap, what do we do, right? All because of the price, by the way. Price goes down, that's it. It just shows you everything. So what are they going to do? Well, that's why I've shown you Vitalik saying, hey, we're going to scale 10 to 100x gas limit. They're going to, trust me, they're going to turn this around. Okay, they're coming back with a vengeance. ETH BTC will hit 0.10. It will be 10% of Bitcoin's price size. But yeah, maybe not, probably not this cycle. Next two, maybe next one. It will come around. Also, Michael Saylor's strategy has acquired 7,400 BTC. So he bought it at about 104,000. So I'm just going to show you Saylor tracker. Remember, friends, his Bitcoin, his average price, it's almost 70,000 now. It's 69,750. He's buying and buying and buying and buying. And as you'll see, as the price goes up even higher, there'll be even more demand to come in. He'll probably have like these giant clips. Man, where's all this money coming from? That's just wild, man. Well, like you asked, like, why don't you just buy Bitcoin, dude? Like in the event of a bankruptcy, you don't own any of the Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Why are you doing it? And then, because friends, you understand, like, people don't give a crap about crypto. They're here to make money. Yeah. But like when you try to tell them, look, man, okay, if you want to make money, you got to go where people aren't looking. Learn self-custody, get on exchanges. But they don't want that, because then you actually realize you're not actually here to make money. They say they are here to make money. What they're actually here to do is to be sheep and join a movement that feels good. The problem is, if you join a movement that feels good, that's another way of saying you want to go buy highs with everybody else. Okay? Which works in the middle part of the cycle until everybody gets too euphoric and drunk, because it works. Okay? Too much, and then the euphoria comes and we have the top. Arthur Hayes sees Bitcoin hitting $200,000 this year. He believes $1 million by 2028. And he says Ethereum will outperform Solana and alt season starts above 110K. So he basically means Sol ETH ratio is going to go down, probably as ETH BTC comes back. And he says that, so Arthur, remember, friends, I made made videos on him and stuff like here. So Arthur, friends, when he believes the 4-year cycle is broken. Okay, but you just be careful with this stuff, because like you can say, oh, it's broken technically, but what ends up happening is there's like an event that comes next year which just like confirms the cycle that to go down, right? Like you could have said, oh, the 4-year cycle is broken, but then the US Fed came and started hiking rates. So the US Fed, like, you know, bring on the cycle, whatever. You can't think of it like that. If you're trying to guess the narrative, that story that's going to prick the bubble, whatever, you'll never get it. And remember, the cycle, the market's actually bigger than that. Okay, it's bigger than just these news announcements. So what I'm basically saying is, if the US Fed never hiked rates, we still would have went down. Okay, that's it. You know, esoteric market knowledge, it just didn't want to go up anymore. Which tells you, like, okay, why would it change next time? Right? We'll see. I guess we'll see. We're gonna have to use others BTC as our gauge of euphoria. We'll see what happens. Microstrategy has been hit with a class action lawsuit over alleged misleading statements tied to its Bitcoin strategy and 5.9 billion unrealized Q1 loss. So, man, look at this. I was asking for a message from God, from the universe, to just tell me I'm on the right path with how I'm seeing the Bitcoin Michael Saylor MicroStrategy story unfolding, and how it's going to have a catastrophic ending somewhere. And it threw one at me. Like, bro, Bitcoin has not even had a down dip, and you guys are already trying to sue Michael Saylor. Okay? Friends, look at this. Bitcoin went down 4%, and they're like, okay, go after MicroStrategy. Right? Just think about that. We are still in the bull. We haven't even, friends, we're literally, look at this. Bitcoin is literally at all-time highs. It had the highest weekly close in history. They want to sue MicroStrategy. So think about the next level of weak hands that are going to enter Bitcoin because of Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, Bitcoin 200K, 250K. And then think about what they're going to do on the way down. So we know what's coming. Man, by the way, friends, as well, they have 576,000 BTC. You know, there's only 14 million circulating. So you remove Satoshi and remove the lost coins. I think there's only 14 million BTC or so. So if they have 596,000 BTC out of 14 million, oh my gosh, They have 4.2% of all the Bitcoin. Oh, man. What a risk, dude. Oh, man. You know that's bad. You know we're gonna cop it in the bear market. Something's gonna get wrecked. Remember, I just told you, you only need 1% of the supply. You can send anything down 80 to 90%. You just need 1%. There's not enough liquidity. Like, no one leaves the liquidity on the bids. Wow. XRP and micro XRP futures are going live on the Cuck Mercantile Exchange today, friends. So remember, the futures are there. Another way for them to dump, and just because it's popular, just Cuck Mercantile Exchange. Hopefully they add all the other altcoins and stuff out here. SEC Chairman Paul Atkins says he wants firms to custody and trade securities and non-securities under one roof. So we're just seeing like a shift in the regulation and stuff coming out here. JP Mosquito, Jamie Dildo, he says he won't custody Bitcoin, but he will let clients buy it. And he also says, I am not a fan of Bitcoin. So it's a bug eater. No one cares about them. They are part owners of the US Fed. Yeah, I'm sure we did some digging. I'd probably like get deleted off YouTube and stuff out here. So just, yeah, you know by now, yeah, the Fed is privately owned. You're not allowed to know who the private owners are. Yes, man, and they are. It's just, look, man, we're getting that that you know, the cyclical seesaw swing part where like people think like the government's on our side, the government's on our side, you know, because it's a business cycle, bro. When it goes up, yeah, the government's on our side. Wait till the bear market, you know, but don't wait. You know, we're going to get there. Just don't do anything silly. That's what I'm saying. My friend Binance CZ, investing in crypto is risky. Not investing in crypto is also risky. So as you know now, right? They print global M2 liquidity. They debase by 7 to 8% every year. Bitcoin's got a little correlation to it, but Bitcoin doesn't just match the 8% per year, just like gold does. It doesn't just match it. It crushes it. Okay. So you got 67% return in the past 4 years, which is, it's shocking numbers because Bitcoin used to do 150%. Now it's down to 67%. Maybe the next 4 years down to 40%. Michael Saylor, by the way, for Michael Saylor's belief that Bitcoin gets to 13 million, he assumes a 20% growth rate forever until that point. That's why I thought 13 million is like, that's really optimistic. Really, like, you're just saying you're going to grow 20% per year? I don't think so, dude. I think like you basically like, everyone's heard about it. Everyone's adopting it. It's faster and faster to get there. Yeah, but we'll see. Who cares about that? You know, we'll all be dead by then anyway. Tether now hold 120 billion in US treasuries, surpassing Germany and ranking 19th in the world. Whoa, man. So the CEO, Paulo, he said, next stop, we are going to surpass South Korea. Shout out to all my StarCraft baby dolls in South Korea. Reminder that Tether makes USD trash. USDT, because it has a blacklist function, but it also, friends, Tether get invited to the Bitcoin speaking conferences. Why? Because they dump the yield. So if you hold Tether, you're a cuck. You're an actual cuckold. Yeah. You literally watch them grab all the yield and then enrich themselves and pay themselves, and they pay Max Kaiser, who's a Tether ICO owner, and then you sit there doing nothing, earning no yield. So, but look, friends, some people just love it. They love just getting cucked. They just love it. You know, you're like up the top rankings of Pornhub now. Reddit section for you is going off. You're everywhere. So congratulations, you have a movement now. You're cucks. But for the rest of us, we don't adopt that lifestyle. You know, it's your choice. pDAI story continues, friends. What a fitting continuation. There are 50,000 pDAI was now withdrawn from the VAT, from PulseChain Maker DAO, after it had its emergency shutdown. So the news of that happening is actually quite alarming for everyone. I was like, wait a minute, I thought it was dead. Yeah, but I think what happens is an address withdrew the pDAI. It says it's minted. It says, but it's not actually minted. It's just, that was like that you know, that fake narrative because everybody's basically just been setting red candles on it. That's what appeared. Where is pDAI right here? So friends, pDAI is at 0.002. Okay, if it goes to 0.003, it pretty much erases the caddy dump. So this is the caddy level. Caddy did a homicide on pDAI. If it goes back to 0.005, all right, it retraces, here we go. It retraces Maria's FUD. Okay, that's it. And the Richard Hart one, actually, I think we're back towards it. This is the Richard Hart FUD zone. Okay, and also up here. So that's why the key ultimate level is at 0.005. When we get there, that pretty much like you just show, wow, that's strange. All these extremely bad, terrible narratives, but the price action has absorbed all that supply, and now we've scooped back up. Makes you think about what happens next. Senator Bill Hagerty says crypto stablecoin issuers will be the largest holders of US treasuries in the world.
I think the majority of it will be US treasuries. In fact, what this will do, and the projections are by 2030, this is according to Citibank, stablecoin issuers will be the largest holders of US treasuries in the world.
My gosh, that isn't normal. That's you just gotta be bullish. You gotta be long crypto, dude. That's Chainlink, that's Ethereum, that's PulseChain, that's literally everything. Stablecoin, SuperCycle, tokenization, real world assets, Ethereum goes up. That's ETH, like 2030. They're all on Ethereum's chains, man. So that's ETH BTC. It could be a flipping by 2030. Yeah, but at that 2030, it could happen, right? Maybe next cycle goes to 0.10 again. Yeah, that'd be wild. And by the way, if ETH BTC flips Bitcoin in that 2032 to 2034, I think, man, that's another 9 years. My gosh. That would make like 20 years to flip Bitcoin. It would be actually that. Then we're like, dude, we've been here way too long. I love you. I just hope you don't feel the need to watch, 15-minute candles in crypto by that point, because something went terribly wrong if we still are. More interesting news. Circle, so USD Cuck, is in informal talks to sell itself to Coinbase or Ripple. If you remember as well, friends, so Ripple put in a bid too low for it as well. Now, I've just got some blockchain backer squiggly lines. Where are we going next? He still thinks we're going to do this squiggly line part here and go up, but then he says like it's all over. Yeah, can we not do the whole it's all over part? This is what it looks like here, doing like the ABC and then moving up, shooting up. He really does think, man, it's actually like all over after that point. We'll see, dude. We'll see. Like, I'll just be honest, friends. I'll be honest, okay? I'll put my hand on my heart and my other hand on my right shoulder. Okay, I'm just going to tell you something. It will be interesting if XRP is nowhere near his take profit target, and we are now in July, the month of July, and I have to say, I wonder if blockchain backer still thinks the cycle's over. It will be interesting. And then I watch his show, and he changes it. It will be interesting. Because, and be honest, it's probably going to happen. Yeah, it's probably going to happen. Because friends, if XRP, friends, just to tell you, if XRP hits so what's his target, right? His target for XRP is this $9 to $10 here. He's getting 2/3 out. But I want to tell you something. If XRP goes up there, by the way, bro, so friends, it literally has to do this in freaking like 60 days. So by Julie here, right here. Oh my God, it literally has to do this. Bang. Right up here, XRP has a 500 billion market cap at that point. 500 billion. That's equivalent to like Ethereum $4,000 now. $4,200 now. So if XRP is 500 billion, I'm just thinking about the whole crypto industry as a whole. We had to have all gone turbo to the moon. Can crypto add that many trillions and stuff out here for altogether? But we'll see. We'll see. So that's why I just watch this stuff. Like, it'll be interesting, right? The target's up here. What happens if July, and XRP's $5? It's not the ultimate $9. Because you might say, oh, but 5 is close to 9. No. You know how this game works. If you're not selling at that exact number, the next move, it doesn't sit here for 9 years for you to get out, okay? The next move is, now you're back to $2.50. You're like, oh, crap. What now? You see that? You know now, Marcus. By the way, hope I didn't give you some PTSD from 2021. It was like, hey, I'm selling Bitcoin at 100K. Next stop, it went to 15, right? It doesn't just go, oh, I'm not selling at this price. If you're like not selling at that price, it doesn't go sideways horizontal like the stock market for 2 years to give you a chance to scale out. No. It's literally goodbye. 90 days later, you're down 75%. Another 9 months later, you're down another 75%. So don't you just love crypto? That's why, friends, I will be like telling you, you know, if you're on side in anything, just peel stuff off. Right? That's it. I'll be reminding you. Just peel stuff off. I don't care if I own the coin. I don't care if you're a big holder in any of the coins I know. I generally don't care, friends. Okay. I have an abundance mindset. We're here on this journey together. I'll just tell you to sell the coin. I don't care if you have a lot. I'll be honest. I literally don't care. But I say, hey, but that's counterintuitive. Yes. It's called an abundance mindset. Learn it. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.